Hi guys. I did a live stream on Sunday, which most of you are aware of, and I was talking about an incident that happened on Saturday. I'll link that video up in the iCard for you, so you can go and see what the incident that happened, and me and the person in question have since sorted out. We've gone through it. We've said, right, we've got a difference of opinion. I agree with you on this. I don't agree with you on this and this. This is why I'm of this opinion. And he said, well, this is why I'm of this opinion. He's like, fine. But somebody brought up a situation that's going on, and I have since been watching videos about it. And I am talking about the whole Onision and Laineybot and Patreon thing that's going on. There have been a few issues going on with regards to their Patreon. You have one person or a small group of people that are saying that the perks that they're getting are not worth the money that they're paying, and in some cases it's like a couple of $100. Now, first of all, in a situation where both partners do YouTube, yeah, it's a good thing, yeah, it's great, and it's a fairly decent way to do things. Both do they both do YouTube. They both. I know Greg does Twitch. I'm not sure if Lainey does or not. I don't know. So they're on multiple platforms, and they raise money on all platforms plus on Patreon. And a lot of people are questioning, because a lot of people are saying, well, the perks aren't worth what we're paying. Not being funny, but even if I had the money, I would not pay somebody £200 a month to do what they do, unless I was their boss. Even if it was something I believed in, I wouldn't be paying £200 or $200. I wouldn't. I just wouldn't. On top of that, you're talking about two people who, even though they're married, they live in the same house, they have kids together, they don't really seem to think that what one does affects the other. A lot of the time people call Lainey out because they say, well, Greg's done this, and she's like, well, it's got nothing to do with me. Yes, it has. It's your husband. If my husband did something online and I saw it, I'd pull him up about it, and I would do it publicly. I'd do it privately, and then I'd do it publicly. Because at the end of the day, if your husband is putting out somebody's medical rights cards and somebody's personal details, that is a criminal act. And because you were involved in the same relationship that he was, and it was a weird relationship, and he was doing this saying that he was protecting you and that he was helping you because Billy was using you, or Billy was whatever. You should have both privately and publicly said, that's out of line, you shouldn't do that. But she didn't. And then there's all this that's going on with Patreon. Now, when you have something like what Greg and Lainey do, they both do the same jobs, they both have separate bank accounts, fine. But I'm not sure if the Patreons are separate or whether it's the same Patreon together, I don't know. I think it's two separate Patreons. But Lainey saying, well, the Patreon money isn't going, because she's getting called out for using the Patreon money for, buying makeup, buying clothes and things like that, when she has other money to do that with. And I understand why people are pissed off. Greg and Lainey are like, oh yeah, we're skimped, the IRS have took this much money off us, blah blah blah, we're struggling to pay our mortgage, etc. First of all, nobody in the right mind that runs their channel like a business would use a website to do their taxes. You just wouldn't. Most people would use the brain cells, and especially somebody that was earning as much as Greg was at one point, would actually say, oh yeah, I need to hire an accountant, because an accountant knows what they are doing. They will tell you exactly how much money you need to pay on tax. They will tell you exactly how much money you need to put at one side for insurance or anything like that. They would say to you, right, you need to get this insurance in case somebody sues you. You need to get this because of this, and if he'd have done that years ago, instead of being this one guy that works out of this room in his house, don't even get me started on the house, making videos and live streams and talking shit about people, he is liable at one point, if he hasn't already, to get sued. And he would have been told by an accountant or by a business manager, this is what you need to do. But he didn't. He took a shortcut and it fucked him over. But I will say this, I've said it in the past and I'll say it again. Why do you need two houses? I have one house. It's a very small house. I film in one room. Now I know Greg does skits, but you have a large house. You have a substantial house. Greg's house is about 10 times the size of the one that I live in. Okay? His house has multiple rooms that don't get used, that just have piles of clothes everywhere. I can't say much on that one because I have piles of clothes I need to take to the charity shop, but they have rooms that don't ever get used. They have a filming room that Lynn uses, and then there's a couple of filming rooms that Greg uses, and then there's a couple of rooms that don't get used, and then there's the kids' bedroom, and then there's their bedroom. So why would you need a separate house to film in when why would you need a separate house to film in when you have plenty of rooms in your current house that aren't being used for anything? Why not just use them? If I had a house the size of Greg's, I would have about 6 other people living with me because it's that big. And on top of that, they had a separate house. He had a car that was specifically used for recording and used for travelling backwards and forwards. And he didn't do any of the things that would be common sense, or literally a quick Google search would tell you how to do certain things, like making sure you get the tax back on petrol. You have to make a detailed log of the mileage that you choose, because you can't just say, oh, all the miles on that car have been because I've been recording, because I dare say many times that's happened when it's not true. So people are trying to claim back more tax than they're actually entitled to. Then there's the fact that they erupt at people who question them. They erupt at people who say, I don't agree with this, or like with Lainey, the rewards and the pledges don't match up, and Lainey's like, I don't have enough time to do anymore. That's all I can do. I'm struggling with time. If that's true, why do you spend 4 hours at a time on you now? I do YouTube, I do YouNow, I do Twitch. I have a set process. I do a live stream on a Sunday for YouTube. I record on a Tuesday for YouTube. And then usually on a Tuesday, after I've edited one video, I will go on Twitch. Or I'll go on Twitch first and then edit a video on a Tuesday, or I'll go on to Twitch on a Wednesday, and then if I have time, I will go in and do a YouNow stream I don't always get time to do that. I also have book related stuff to do. I have a release in just over a month. I've got stuff to do with that. I've got a book signing in May. When you are an online personality, it is so easy to think, oh, I'm getting paid so much to be on You Now. I know if I'm on You Now for 4 hours, I'll get more money. Not necessarily. An hour and a half, you probably get a decent fair chunk of money. And then you could do a bit more with regards to Patreon, or you could do a bit more with regards to your channel, or do a bit more with regards to your family. Because when I see Greg and Lainey together, I don't know, I just get the heebie-jeebies. I don't know what it is, I just don't like it. Something doesn't feel right about them. I'm not saying that because Lainey's trans or anything like that. I don't have an issue with trans people at all. I don't have a thing about her being bi or anything like that, because I myself am bi. My issue is there's something about them together that makes me feel weird. And it's like people are saying, oh, you know, Greg just likes to get people talking. That's true, because the more drama is involved in, the better. But the problem is people are cottoning on to that, and they are losing more support than that they are pulling in. I have heard that apparently one of during a Discord or something, one of Patreon members had said to Greg that her father had died of suicide. And apparently he said something very nasty back. Not 100% sure on what was said back, but apparently it was very nasty. And at the end of the day, if somebody's parents died of suicide, first of all, I wouldn't tell somebody like Greg anyway, because he doesn't seem to understand anything about mental illness or about a lot of things in life in general. He doesn't understand why his forum was a bad idea. He doesn't understand that, and this refers back to a Repsion video, that when somebody calls your names over and over and over and over and over again, especially in the home, it will cause you to be depressed, it will cause you to be suicidal, etc. That is part of what's called depression. It's also part of what's called emotional abuse. Greg doesn't understand that. Greg's like, well, it's your fault for feeling sad, it's your fault for letting him affect you. No, when you're a kid and it's your parents that are saying it, it affects you. Even if it's not your parents that are saying it. I could go through a umpteen amount of people that are committed suicide because they were bullied. There are criminal cases going on at the moment where people online that have bullied somebody else have actually been charged. And it's like, Greg's like, oh, you shouldn't, it's your own fault for getting sad about it. It's your own fault for getting upset about it. What? To me, neither of them seem to know what they're doing business-wise. With Lenny, you can kind of chalk it down to being young. With Greg, he has no excuse. At one point, he would have been earning at least 2 or 3 million a year. But because his channel is essentially being blacklisted, because he is so abusive, sorry, my leg's sore, because his channel's essentially been blacklisted, you have to remember that he's clinging to any hope he can. I don't trust him, I don't believe a word that comes out of his mouth, I don't trust Lainey. I don't trust either of them. I know a few of my subbies, really don't like either of them, and they don't like the fact that Onision thinks he can get away with shit. And I'd love for him to try with me. Every time he tries with Jacqueline, it comes back and bites him in the ass. That's how it'll be with me. Because Greg seems to think he's extremely smart. He's not that smart. Sorry, Greg, but you know. Yeah. what makes me laugh though is what I was saying about mental illness. Greg used mental illness to get himself out of the military. He threatened to commit suicide if they didn't medically discharge him or dishonourably discharge him. But that's into your mind. And then there was the point where his channel was really starting to go down south, and I think that's when the blacklisting started. He said that before YouTube he had a gun in his mouth and that he would have killed himself if it weren't for YouTube, and he doesn't know what he's going to do because, you know, he's not being able to do what he wants on YouTube. He's one of those people who likes to bait people, and he's also one of those people that likes to manipulate people. Anyway, you can tell I don't like Greg at all. Now, to some, this may be disjointed, but to me it isn't. At the end of the day, he is a bad businessman, him and his wife. He's not really a decent human being, in my opinion. He's not somebody I can respect, and I'm older than him. And he really has no idea what he's doing at all, in any sense. So, he thinks he does, but he doesn't. Because if he did, he wouldn't have got bitten by the IRS. Anyway, with that being said, I'm going to sign off and try and get my leg to stop hurting. Stay safe, be good, have fun, and I will see you on Sunday for a live stream.